on, or okay, we'll come to the breaking news of the Israel Iran situation. But let's come to some Nigerian news. Raji, yesterday our president was flagging off the construction of INEC. He says INEC Annex Center. INEC Annex Center. And while he was doing that, he was praising INEC. He was saying INEC role in maintaining democracy has been a very good one. Gentlemen, we know INEC. We all know the Independent National Electoral Commission. We know them. Do they deserve new structures, new infrastructures? Raji, tell us what's that they were doing there.
You see, when you have a national or a country edifice that, or a country, should I say, a group that is, first of all, you put independent National Electoral Commission. The first word, independent, gives you false hope and also warns you that these people are not going to be independent. If they're going to be independent, you don't have to tell it. As for an annex, I don't know the INEC office, but if an annex is necessary, I think it's okay that it should be given to them.
It's okay to be given to them. Do you agree with this? I think we've been saying a lot about building infrastructures when there are more important things that funds could be used for. George, tell us what's your view on this new purpose?
It's funny to call, not to begin with, like Olenka said, to call it independent is a joke. Number two, for the president calling it a symbol of Nigerian democracy, democratic strength, and its institutional dignity is even a laughable situation. And then yes, some wicked coming to, say, oh yeah, it's going to be completed at the end of Tinubu's first term. Remember the reason how President Tinubu allegedly became the president of Nigeria, to everybody's surprise, how things happened the last minute. So that is number one. And therefore, what is the motivation in giving them this building? Is it because this is supposed to be assuring that whatever happened in the past, the secret that took place, the mystery that was unveiled at the last minutes of the election will repeat itself again? Who knows? Now, we have thousands of people displaced in Bonu, in Nasarawa, and in all other areas, all in the IDP camps. Nothing is built for them. Nothing is given them to sustain them or to return them to their own, to their own lands. And what we are seeing here is the annex building being promised 1,000 seats, but because the one they have right now is about 500, and and they're saying that that building can, they have about 1,048 offices, and that they need a bigger building. Well, listen, if we are doing infrastructure, but it's okay. But it looks funny to me. It looks funny. In my own opinion, I think this is almost like a bribery to make sure, since I'm beginning this and I'm giving you guys this gift, ensure that I'm going to be here to enjoy this for another 4 years. Well, who knows? Now, Tinubu emphasized that the project represents more than infrastructure. It signifies the independence of democratic institution and Nigerian evolving commitment, free and fair election. Laughable to me, in my own opinion. These things that are being written here is not written for Nigerians. It's written for foreigners. It's written for those who are clamoring that we will remain a democratic nation. They know the truth about what happened, and the whole entire Nigerians knew exactly what happened. So when they're writing all these things that they're writing, what? Yeah, of course, we all know. So, but what when they're writing all these things, they are not actually writing it to Nigerians, because they know that Nigerians that are reading this, whether you are a PDP person or APC person or any other, will look at it and say these people are just jokers. But the fact is, it's not written for you. It's written for for the foreigners who are going to be contributing to our what you call democratic election. INEC chairman Prophet Mahmoud Yakubu, shame on you for even opening your mouth and saying anything at this time. I'm sorry. Listen, let the truth be told. Let the truth be told. Let the truth be told. Don't be a media person who lies and then want to be politically correct. Tell the truth. That is the most important thing that we need to do. I support my president. I pray for him daily, but I'm going to tell the truth regardless. Do you understand? For Yakubu to come out and say anything is so laughable that the man is not even supposed to be there. Considering what happened during the last election and he's still there, he's being kept for a reason. That's all I'm going to say. I have more to say, but I'm going to leave it alone.
Can I speak to what George just said?
The ones you said is so tight. Let me come through again, gentlemen. We all know that INEC building in Abuja. I'm trying to get the studio to put that out. It has everything, and now they are having an annex. I don't know what will be in this structure now, this new one. What are the gadgets? What are we going to be doing there? If you've had all that it's required in that major building in the headquarters, what are they annexing for? Raji, go ahead now. Tell us.
I do not think that INEC needs to expand its office. If they have an office that can take up to 500 people, because elections are seasonal, and whatever equipment you need, you don't need to duplicate it or expand it. If they have a 500 tower, that's enough for everything. In this age of technology, when everything is actually converging rather than expanding, I think the idea of an annex seems to be very, very interesting to me. Yes.
But anyway, what happened was Yakubu himself was saying that they are renting extra 2 buildings because what they have is inadequate to contain the number of people. This marks the 3rd time since 1991 that the Federal Development Authority, FCDA, has provided accommodation support for INEC, reaffirming its statutory duty. The INEC boss himself, which is Yakubu, clarified that the existing headquarters, will remain operational, but the new structure will serve as a complement, not a replacement. So they're giving them an additional building. So they're going to have 1,500 capacity, So, but yeah, that's the question, because it begs the question of what Olayinka Raji is asking. This is a seasonal thing. It happens only how many times in 4 years? So they give them this structure and all that kind of stuff. What is it? And now, is this so important at this time? Because what we are coming to is an election. We know how it's going to turn out, whether we like it or not. Okay? So, I am happy that they're doing this, but there ought to be a better priority for the people's livelihood and people's lives, especially in the middle belt, to be wasting this money at this moment.
Thank you.
That's what I'm going to say.
Yes. Viewers, what you're seeing on your screen there is a side of the INEC building, that the one that has been the headquarters for INEC all this while. And I think it's about a 8-story building. It has a 6-story building. Okay.
Yeah, and at least
it has all yes, it takes all it takes. Now going to build another outreach, another an annex, means billions of naira will be spent, and we have pressing issues, like George saying. There are issues that needs to be addressed, not being putting up structures again when we have the one we're using that were not even utilized more. They were not utilized, George, Raji. You guys know things were not even utilized in the time of the election. So it's crazy
And
that we're doing more of this. Raji, go ahead.
and every state seems to have an ANEC office. So the ANEC office is essentially decentralized. So I don't see why they have to expand, to have to put another structure which may contain more people than the original structure. That's funny.
That's funny. Putting up more structures may affect the original structure. Okay, viewers, we're discussing our president that has flagged off the construction of an annex up for Independent National Electoral Commission in Abuja. He says this edifice symbolizes Nigerian commitment to electoral integrity, and he says to bring democratic growth. Let's see how that will play out. But that's what it is. New structure in Abuja. All right, George. George, let's look at something I want all of us to go in very well. There has been a kind of silent, malicious rumors going about in our presidency and the vice. Social media users have attributed a lot of statements that have come out that shows that there are internal struggles within the presidency and the vice president, Kashim Shettima. I want us to evaluate this whole thing, gentlemen. Kashim Ibrahim Shettima is the current vice president of Nigeria. He was elected alongside President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He previously served as the governor of Borno State, Borno, from 2011 to 2019. And that was the year also you had the Boko Haram insurgents. Gentlemen, you remember. Yeah, so now 2027 is coming, and there is a video that was making around the other time where they said the Northerners were endorsing APC Tinubu without Shettima. And there was that ruckus, there was wild fight and all that. Let's see that video before we go into the Okay, so what we see is some party members of APC North were very struggled with the selection of Tinubu but without Shettima. So some were for Shettima, some group were for him. George, let's start with you. Before he comes in, do you think Kashim Shettima, the vice president, is up to task? Go ahead.
As far as I am concerned, Shettima is eloquent, capable, but there are so many skeletons, alleged skeletons in his closet, which I don't know if it's true or not, because there is always those left-hand and right-hand news. And that's why we stay in the middle. So now, I don't know I have seen him outside of the country representing Nigeria. Most of the time, he represents us even better and more eloquent than our current president. Now, the point I'm about to make is very funny. There is a saying, when you see your enemy suffer, don't rejoice. It is a proverb often found in, it's in the book of Proverbs, in the book of 24:17. Don't rejoice when your enemy is suffering. A few weeks ago, or about 2 weeks ago, as a matter of fact, we saw our president coming and rejoicing. He they pain us, when they pain us, then they suffer, or whatever. That song, okay, that he was they even orchestrated it and made sure that they sang it nationally when the president was there. They paint them. Will they rejoice? Whatever,
They
whatever.
sweet us. They pain
The
them.
sweet us, they paint them. So President went ahead and said it because of what is happening in PDP, that he was happy because of the problem that was happening with PDP. Now, as a result, this is a payback to the supposed stable APC. Now, whether this is true or not, I do not know to the extent it is true. But we have seen for the past few months, Shetima has been almost silent, not really doing a whole lot, and we haven't seen him and the president together. So whether this is true, but I know there is no smoke without fire. And I know for sure that maybe because of whatever dissension or contention that is in between them, that the president is choosing to find somebody else. But the problem is it leaked out. And therefore, they have to do damage control right now. So that's what we see. But when it comes to that, the APC Northeast meeting in Gombe, it was so crazy how, these people went out of, they lost it completely simply because Shatima's name was not mentioned when Dangoje was saying something and was, most of them came out and particularly and made sure that the name of Shetima was removed. That means that this was a complete and absolute orchestrated event for them not to mention that. Because what would it cost you? Naturally, as a politician, as a APC member, once Tinubu is mentioned, Shetima should follow when the election is called. But for them to specifically did not mention his name, it was a meeting that was held, and it was a warning that was given, and then they did it, and this is the resulting consequence. So I believe that this angry chance of Shetima erupting is simply because of what you call the rotational system. Remember, rotational system. I keep on saying this. Our politicians, they ignore it. We Nigerians, we ignore it, but to them it's more important than any other person to make sure that they are well represented anytime there is an election in order for the influence to take place from that area, which they have had for many years in Nigeria.
But historically, we should remember
Yes.
how many deputy governors Tinubu had when he was governor of Lagos State.
Three.
He fought with almost every of his deputies.
Right.
So it's old habits die hard. But at the national level, he may not be able to get away with it because there are so many other
Viewers,
happening.
we are talking about the vice president. According to report, there are discussions about potential change in the ticket for 2027. Now let's dive in, gentlemen. Let's dive in deep. Raji, but do you see Shetima doing the work of the vice president? We've not seen much lately. We've only seen more of him being at some few fairs and events. I think his office goes beyond that. He should not just be some functions that he will go. Tell us.
The vice president is supposed to be a spare tire. If the actual tire is not punctured, why are you going to change and use the spare tire? And then the vice president will do whatever assignment that is given by the president. That's why we had the whole professor of law doing sharing 5,000 naira in markets during the time of Shibaju and yes, also two of them are very, very harsh personalities. They're very, very strong personalities, and therefore I'm sure that there will be a personality clash between Shetima and
Tinubu and Shetima. Yes, they are very strong personalities. It's a good observation. Very good observation.
Yes.
Very strong personalities.
There's no way that there won't be any
fracas.
Don't be any. Well, it won't come to fracas, but there'll be a lot of friction. Plus the baggage that Shetima came with about Boko Haram. It was during his time in Borno that Boko Haram escalated, and he did nothing. In fact, he's alleged to be a major sponsor of Boko Haram.
That's one of the things. But now, when you see this, they were actually threatening these people. They're threatening defection. APC stakeholders from the northeast threatened to support Atiku Abubakar of the PDP if Shetima is dropped. So that's another issue there that the president must consider. But I don't think, since this stuff is leaked right now, since it's leaked, that they are going to, I think they're going to find a way to put things together so that they will not look bad outside. And that's what I believe.
What's happening? What's happening is the president testing the waters. And I'm sure it's a strategic move. Let us see what will happen. Should there be a muddying of the waters? And then he's seeing it, and he's going to make adjustments as possible. He's going to make rapprochements to those who are not satisfied with the steps he's about to take. I don't think that Shetima will be on the next ballot with the president. I don't think so.
Yes, even remember we saw the president's son. I've forgotten his name now. We saw the son going to some of the functions that were meant. Yes, Sheyi Tinubu, that were meant to be for the vice president. We saw some events that he went. So you begin to look at such a break of office protocols, and you wonder what's happening here. We know also that, like you've said now, Raji, the vice president is supposed to sit in for the president in some places, but we've not seen much of that. We've not seen
Call to remembrance. Call to remembrance. Call to remembrance. When the former president was in the hospital for almost how many months? More than 100 days. They refused. The Northerners basically literally refused Osibanjo to take the post. It was only when the media started crying out that they allowed him. But something happened during that time. Within that short period of time, Osibanjo took over. There was a complete and absolute turnaround in the way Nigerian welfare was going. It was almost like our economy started getting better. Things started working better. I don't know what kind of miracle that was, but I tell you, did you remember that?
That frightened the people.
Frightened them. For some reason, everything just turned right side up, and things started moving rapidly, better than ever. So now you see that, and you saw when Yaradua died, how it was difficult for the North to allow Jonathan to take over the post. So you can see this particular attitude of the country belongs to us. You guys are just, visitors. That attitude is still resonating. So if Asiwaju is able to do this, there is rancor between both of them. And he feels like he will be better off in his second term by choosing somebody else. That's his constitutional political right. That's all I can say. But if he's to choose somebody, I believe that he will never choose anybody from the South. He will choose somebody from the North. But if he decides to choose somebody from the South, just like they did Muslim ticket, hey, I don't know how the country will stand.
That cannot happen.
It will not happen.
That can't happen.
I know it will not happen. He will choose somebody from the North.
Okay. Viewers, we are discussing Nigerian Vice President Kashim Shettima Mustafa, GCON, was born 2nd of September 1966. According to many reports, there is a potential change that he might not be there. We also see that he's not permitted to function as his office. We don't know what external or internal
No, it's not
factors that
permitted.
could be.
No, that's the
Uh,
wrong
It's not.
word to use. Actually, that's
It's
the
not.
wrong
Yes,
word to use. The
that's the wrong
proper
word to
word
use.
to use,
Okay.
actually, the expression that Olayinka Raji said was he is a spare tire, and that's what most vice and deputies are like.
Ah,
When the
Yeah.
executive is
Okay.
on point, you'd stay there until you are assigned to do something. So you are basically a spare tire hidden in the boot of the car until the necessity or when something happens or this president decides to send you on an errand, and then they will do so if he's not able to show up. So I don't think that saying allowing him. What we know is that
permitting him.
he's been absent in a lot of functions lately. So
Yeah.
that
But
indicates that there
also,
might be.
Raji, yeah, Raji, I know some economic issues, policies rest on him, like we heard. I think
Yeah.
he was made the head of a team, an economic team,
Yes.
when they took office. So but why is he not putting his voice?
Still,
Why is he
it is still
making
with the permission and the permission of the president.
Mhm.
upon him being the head of that economic
It is
team?
still under the auspices of the president. If the president does not want him to officiate, he will appoint somebody over him,
Mhm.
or he will take over that position himself.
Mm.
And
If
he
he
can
does
still be
that,
the
it will,
he can still be the
yes,
president, enjoying all the new billions of naira that was used to refurbish his
innovate his house.
where he renovates his house. And now I hope that if he steps down, that building will be taken over. I hope it's not a permanent structure for him personally.
No, it's not.
But
It
that's
can't
what they
be.
do.
It can't be.
Okay, thank
It
you.
can't be.
Just like just like
duty.
Aso Rock, right?
No, yes, just like Asoro.
Okay. Wow, gentlemen, we are. This is interesting. Yeah, we've dived in. Viewers, Vice President of Nigeria, Kasim, Shetima. Gentlemen, let's wrap it up. This. Will it be to the favor of the president if he runs again 2027 and he doesn't go with this team that have brought him in this initial stage? Wouldn't that be a demerit and disadvantage to his office at that time? I mean,
I think
obstruct
it's
some people,
predicated. It's predicated on the person he chooses. Remember, he didn't choose Shetima. Shetima was chosen by the Northerners and presented to
yes.
him. This is our son. We want to run with you. So now President Tinubu can actually choose his own vice if he decides to. And he could choose it from the north, northeast, northwest, north central, whatever, if he decides to, in order to appease them. So it's his right to do so. We're not condemning him if he decides to do so, because he knows the reason why he's choosing to do otherwise if he does.
And then the Muslim ticket seems to have brought up some a lot of issues in the country about a level playing ground for everybody who is a member of the country. Therefore, he may be forced to choose a very good Christian from the north to pacify the Christians, especially those who have been killed so many times among the Benue and the southern Kaduna areas. Yes, as an appeasement.
All right, gentlemen. Gentlemen, let's do a small break. Viewers, you're tuning to Wednesday, 18th June, SSM Global Africa Update. Let's do a small break. We'll be back. George, Raji, wonderful. Thank you guys for the views.
SSM's Wednesday Global Africa program brings to you our news stories, exclusive reporting, and SSM perspectives on the day's top news. Plus, the inside scoop on Africa's most important developing stories. Join us on Wednesdays, 11 a.m. West African time.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all are proud to serve our sovereign motherland.
This country has some of the most extraordinary culinary diversity in the world. I'm talking about Nigeria. This first dish is amala abula, made popular by the Yoruba people in southwest Nigeria. It starts with amala made from dried yam and then is covered in a variety of soups. Next we have ofe nsala, a white soup that is synonymous with the Igbo people of southeastern Nigeria. It goes best with fufu, or akbo as the Igbos call it. Next we have suya, the most well-known food of the Hausa and Fulani people of northern Nigeria. Meat is covered in a peanut-based powder called yaji and cooked over an open fire. This is banga and starch, a classic of the Urhobo people of Delta State. Lastly, we have onunu, a plantain-based swallow of the Izon people in South Nigeria. We are eating it with fisherman soup, popular throughout this whole region. And of course, we don't forget the jollof rice. This is popular everywhere in Nigeria. I think what makes Nigeria so great is the diversity of all the different people coming together. These beautiful ethnic groups living side by side, sharing culture and cuisine is what makes Nigeria such an amazing country to visit. Nigerians should be so proud of that cultural heritage, as there is so much more that unites than divides them.
Here are 3 things that I absolutely loved about Nigeria. Number 1, I fit in. I fit in. Melanin, caramel, chocolate, mocha, whatever you may call it, I fit in, baby. I felt at home. I didn't feel out of place. I didn't feel like anybody was staring at me. Nobody was looking at me strange when I walked around in the stores. I mean, everybody was minding their own business. Number 2, the people. I mean, Nigerians are a vibe. The diverse culture, the different tribes, the different religions, the people are a vibe, okay? Whatever it is that you're looking for, they got it in Nigeria, okay? And they see you. They see you. They notice you. There's a sense of community. People care. Yes. And of course, you might be woken up at 2 a.m. because there's church going on the loudspeaker, but hey, nothing wrong with a little godliness, okay? Relax. Number 3, I love that Nigerians are resilient. They are resilient. Very ambitious and resilient people. They don't depend on the government for anything. They will figure out how they can take care of themselves. They see their systems. They know it's messed up. And guess what? They still thrive and they still figure out a way to make it work. So shout out to all my Nigerians. You are nothing but queens and kings in my eyes. If you're an LDR couple and you're not yet following us, what are you waiting for? Make sure you engage from the bottom.
SSM's Wednesday Global Africa program brings to you our news stories, exclusive reporting, and SSM perspectives on the day's top news. Plus, the inside scoop on Africa's most important developing stories. Join us on Wednesdays, 11 a.m. West African time.
Yes, we're back, gentlemen. You're welcome back. Wednesday African update, and we give perspectives from all globe. Gentlemen, let's come to another story that is also hitting very hard. Now we're going all the way to Kenya. Kenya doesn't have some good stories when it comes to police and their brutality. We hope this doesn't escalate more than this. There's a blogger that has been killed by Kenyan police. And why we're talking about this is because this is what we also this is where what we represent, media people. So the young man called Misak Ojeng was killed in Nairobi, Kenya capital. We're trying to get the studio to bring out those photos. And we want to see, why will somebody's expression, freedom of speech, be used and against him to the extent of killing that person? Gentlemen, what do you think? They say 5 police have been arrested so far, but I mean, you killed a blogger because of his comment and what he has said. Raji, tell us, what do you think about this?
You see, oppressive governments, especially when they are failing, will not want their faults to be so openly disclosed. And I don't see a reason why, as a citizen of a country, I will not be given a voice to say what I have to say it politely, if I think that there are certain things being done in the country that need to be done differently. To go to the extent of now arresting and killing him, that shows a certain level of depravity, even in the minds of the police who went to arrest him. Most of these police are very, very hungry, very, very poor, and probably will have affected their mentality because they are used for oppressing their own kind. It is very, very unfortunate. And those people should be made an example of if the Kenyan public is going to have any improvement in itself.
Thank you, George. They said they've arrested the officer that did this, but it's more than arresting them. I mean, this is almost like what we were saying earlier on, guys. When the system tries to block people's expression, they don't want you to talk, they don't want you to express yourself, and they come on you because you made a comment on the government. George, what do you think?
Well, you see elements of this all over the world, whether we like it or not. You see it in Russia. You see it in the United States of America. You see it all over. Wherever there is a democratic government, they hate anybody coming out to say something against them. And we see it with their President Trump. You know, I mean, you see, his own is blatant. If you come against him, he comes against you openly. So, you know, this stuff happening in Africa is just, you know, because we want to mask our democracy as if it's supposed to be the real thing, but it is not. So, you know, I mean, the president of Kenya has been in trouble, you know, for in the past almost a year now. He's not very popular. We saw what happened when the crowd came against him over certain issues about taxes and stuff like that. But, so, you know, he was able to sustain and he's still there. But he's not their choice. They want him out. So when this type of situation is taking place, the impunity of the police to go arrest and then detain and possibly end up killing this young individual is absolutely unacceptable. And thank God that the public said, no, we cannot be sitting down when things like this are happening. And they came out and they started rioting, which is their constitutional right, because you cannot try to, you know, stifle people or make them not say what they need to say with all due respect. It's just like what we're doing here. A lot of Nigerian news channels cannot do the way we do in this particular our channel here. They can't. The reason being that most of us are outside of the country and we can say it like it is and they cannot touch us. And if they try to do that, when they want to come back into our country, we can stop them from entering by making sure that the politicians know what they are doing, because they can be stifled also and stopped from coming into any of these countries if we know what to do. So they can stop us. But inside Nigeria, they are muscled not to say certain things. And people that usually say things the way they say it, they attack them all the time. Like Rufai Oseni. He's one of those type of people that is verbally open. He respects, but he tells the truth like it is. But you see the kind of attack that they come after him all the time. So, you know, it is such a bad, it tastes bad in our mouth to see something like this happening. A young star that was just a
teacher,
of
a graduate.
Can you imagine that?
Teacher and a blogger, and now just killed.
And this is something that we need to do internationally to make sure that that case does not die without these people being brought to justice. Because just because they arrested them doesn't mean that the case can go through. You will get a phone call from the president and say, okay, let's just extend that case as far as possible. And these officers might still be enjoying. It is sad. And our condolences to the
It
parents
is
of this
sad,
young man.
indeed. Yes, thank you. So good one, George. Also, let it be noted that Kenya also has a history of police brutality, gentlemen. We heard several times when the police would go against protesters and really hit them hard, kill them too. So this one is not. We won't accept this. Mr. Ojingwan um, didn't die for nothing. He was trying to express himself. He was asking for a particular police officer to be sacked because he was doing things that were against the police ethics. And also, the young man was talked about the government, and now they've killed him. Sad news coming from Kenya.
Yeah, we should also remember that you see the colonial police,
Okay.
these police people came out of the colonial police. The colonial police was a force, for oppressing the local people. And when the colonialists left, they left the mentality of a force still in the police.
Okay.
That's why recently Nigerian police is no more a Nigerian police force. It used to be a Nigerian police force, and the emphasis was always on the force when they come against civilians. But now it has been taken off, but their attitude has not changed much.
The attitude has not changed much.
So the force is still in
Okay.
there. Yes.
Thank you, guys. Let's come to another African story that we're looking at. Mali is building Russia backed up gold refinery. So what that means is Mali is now in strong alliance with partnership with Russia, and they are going into gold refinery. Gentlemen, does this mean that Russia is really penetrating now to the Sahel part of Africa? George, what do you think? Are we going to see more of these alliances, partnership,
you are definitely going to see, because what is happening, if you look at the unipolar type of situation we had before, now it's a multipolar. Okay. Mali, they launched a state-controlled refinery in partnership with Russia's Yadran Group. Okay, they are aiming to process up to 200 metric tons of gold yearly. The state owns 62 and Yadran owns 38. It's part of the reform to keep value-added gold processing within Mali. Now, listen to this, though. This is what the military government is doing. Now, if it was under the civilian government, would they have been able to do this openly and squarely and comfortably and equitably and fairly? That's a question. Go figure. The refinery will serve as a regional hub for the countries like Burkina Faso, reflecting a growing trend in the AES, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger to reforming mining laws and retaining more economic benefits at home. So who are going to be benefiting more? The people of the land. That is the reason why when the military took over, you see these countries, they went out onto the streets. They were not protesting. They were rejoicing. So go figure about democracy in Africa. Okay? Now, the commentary, you see a lot of Western media. You see a lot of Western media. When they wrote about this, the first thing they will label them is the junta-led. They start using that junta-led, just to put
but
down.
it is the junta. It's a military regime.
It's a military regime. But
so,
okay,
yes,
if democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people, and the people that were presiding over you were not, it wasn't for the people, by the people, and then the military came and took over, and the people are happy, who are supposed to be the individuals to benefit from this. It is all about the people. So democracy is good if it is well orchestrated and well executed, but it could become a bad thing for a country if the leaders are corrupt and nothing is happening for the people. Simple.
I don't think we should put too much emphasis on the word democracy, because in China they have a certain a system of democracy that is beneficial to the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
They developed their own type of democracy, and it is working
Mm-hmm.
perfectly for them. But it's much more representative than the American system of democracy. Democracy, like Winston Churchill once mentioned, is easily one of the worst forms of government. However, compared with other systems of government at that time,
Mm-hmm.
democracy seems to be more acceptable.
Okay.
In the US today, there's an argument about democracy and the fact that the United States was set up not as a democracy, but as a constitutional republic, where the rights of 1% of the people cannot be obliterated by 99% of the majority. But in a democracy, the rights of 49.49% of people could be overridden by the voice of 51%. And that's a democracy, and that's a majority rule. So
And then,
rather than
no, I just wanted to mention also that part of this problem that is happening affects Canada. Okay, on June 16th, the Malian courts placed Laulo Gankoto gold mine under provincial administration amid a long-standing dispute with Canada's Barrick Gold. So the government seeks to resume operation and fully assert its control over, strategic resources. So it affects Canada. So when Russia is taking over, they are replacing Canadian companies that were there originally. So I just wanted to mention that also.
Because that Canada company was also probably under the colonial power of France, since maybe it was the French part of Canada. And now these people say this particular alliance will embody that country, and they say it will also ensure that the nation benefits from its mineral wealth.
Yes.
This is what the leaders are saying. So anything that works for people, we go with it. The people matter. Gentlemen, before we wrap up, let's do some international news, some Western news. This morning we heard Donald Trump he held a crisis meeting in the White House, the Situation Room of the White House, as he prepares to his decision on this Iran-Israel war. We've not gotten any briefing yet, any press briefing, but when the matter gets to the Situation Room of the White House, then it's a critical issue there. Take notice, America confirmed that they now have control of the air. The airspace of Iran is under American control. And when America tells you things like this, you better take it, So what that means also is Iran cannot use some of the missiles they've been trying to use. They can't fly any of those bomb those jets, to strike and to place anything on anybody. And they will just be limited to probably small combat. So what do you guys think? Situation Room, White House, Israel, and Iran.
Why is the U.S. holding back the hand of the victim for the oppressor to do as he likes? Why? Israel is the aggressor in this matter. Israel has no right whatsoever to attack Iran based on suspicions that he has about Iran being able to produce nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, Israel has more nuclear. Israel is the only country in the Middle East that has more than 400 nuclear warheads. No other country in the Middle East has it. Whatever Iran is developing is not even sufficient to produce a single nuclear weapon. And since 1992, Netanyahu, the evil Netanyahu, has been stating that Iran is 3 years away from producing nuclear weapons. Since 1992, every year he shifts the bargain, and that it is necessary that Iran should be taken out. The same thing is said about Saddam Hussein and Saddam Hussein producing nuclear weapons, and his weapons of mass destruction until the U.S. went in to fight Israel's war and lost more than $13 trillion, money that they could have used to develop their economy, to take care of their veterans who are now sleeping outside. Yeah? So it's better for America not to go and be fighting Israel's wars. It has fought Israel's war in Iraq. It has fought Israel's war in Syria. It has fought Israel's war in Sudan, in the Yemen. Please.
Mhm.
So let there be peace rather than this. And then you cannot go into a war situation and hold the hands of one of the victim for the aggressor to have free space. No.
But Raji, we know the supreme leader, Iran supreme leader, Ayatollah Al-Khamenei. We know he has done a lot of harm too, and in fact, what Trump is saying, what Trump is saying is that in fact, Trump is putting a death threat to him directly. You know, Trump is not hiding that. He's not hiding that. He's putting a death threat to him. He says,
why do you think that is right?
They know how to get him. They have his precise location and they know how to get him. This is what Trump said.
Why do you think that America?
Before you tell us. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, why do you think that America should go around the world as a bully?
So Trump left G7 yesterday from Canada.
Yes.
Because of the emergency situation, and then what they have been considering is how to de-escalate the war, because it's almost like a threat was. He actually, first and foremost, he told Tehran, evacuate, run away, because something we don't want civilians to be dying. Okay,
10 million people.
Okay, he told them, go hide or find a way to go and hide yourself or go on in the bunkers. Now, listen to this. Whether we like it or not, yes, Israel seems to be the people that brought about this. But I'd still ask the same question. Olayinka Raji, if you have a neighbor who is well equipped against you and want to take over your land, and want to kill you and your family, God forbid, but hypothetically, are you going to sit down and fold your arm and watch them go? No, hold tight. Let me finish. I'm asking you a question, sir. I'm asking you a question. Would you fold your hand even when you find a way to either limit that individual from hurting you and hurting your family or taking over your land? Would you fold your hand if whatever they had and they're threatening you with that, they want to increase the power of that situation? You will not do so if you're a real man that loves your family.
Let's be specific on this. Look,
okay, we're being specific. I'm using this as an example.
So
this is what Israel. What Israel? Okay, let me finish. This is what Israel is doing. There has been an open threat from what Ahmadinejad or whatever his name was, who used to openly come out and talk that they will annihilate Israel. And even currently, all the people that have been killed, all these military people that have been killed, or their head of their militaries, they have openly, in their own language, said that they want to annihilate Israel. So what do you expect them to do? Sit down and watch what happened October 7th to happen again? And remember, it was them who was sponsoring the October 7 people. They were the ones.
Are you done? Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done. I'll just ask you a question.
Iran is a member of the International Atomic Energy Commission. Iran has submitted its atomic energy development to the inspection of international body. International body, as at last week, was in agreement with Iran about whatever they are developing. Since the 60s, Israel has been developing its own nuclear weapons, nuclear facilities. It has never come under international inspection. It has never come under inspection. In fact, Israel has refused to allow any inspection of their atomic energy or nuclear energy facilities. Up to today, it is said that Israel has more than 400 nuclear weapons, and they don't allow any international inspections. All that Netanyahu has been saying since 1992 is in his own imagination. The same thing he said about Iraq and weapons of mass destruction, the same thing I've been saying about Iran being 5 years to developing nuclear weapons. That was as far back as 1992. 1992.
Okay.
This is about more than 30 years now. And then suddenly, when the international body is in the process of evaluating whatever Iran has and are in agreement with it, you just go and start bombing it. No, that is not right. That is intransigence. Israel has refused.
That's not right.
Has refused to obey all and every United Nations and international decrees and things against it. Nothing. So talking about October 7, October 7, if Israel is fighting Hamas in Gaza, does that include destroying every building in that place and sending 2 million people into starvation? And then talking about Trump and asking Tehran to evacuate. There are more than 10 million people in Tehran. Iran did not start this war. So why should they evacuate? Why should they go out hiding? And why is Trump holding the hands of Iran from defending themselves?
Do you know what conspiracy? Conspiracy is.
All right, gentlemen. Let's come.
No, hold on. Conspiracy is defined as guilty by association. Okay.
Which conspiracy are you talking about?
I'm talking about when Iran is funding all these terrorist groups against Israel. Are they supposed to be sitting pretty and Israel will fold their hands?
Are you aware that Mossad and the CIA are funding ISIS? Now we're funding Al Qaeda.
That's an allegation. That's an allegation. That's an allegation.
Okay. So whatever you hear about about Iran doing to Hamas is taken as truth. But whatever you hear about Mossad doing to ISIS and Al Qaeda is an allegation. Thank you very much,
gentlemen. Thank you very much. It's a beautiful one. Yes, even if we go back and forth with ourselves, it's all part of the show. We want to thank you, Sir George Chukwu from Toronto, Canada. Thank you, Raji Olayinka. We'll be here Friday. George, you give us update on the G7. What happened so far? We know Trump left.
Yes.
He left them in the middle of it. But we know some decisions were made and probably some
contracts were signed also.
Yes. All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Raji, good one. Yes. You were able to put your points out well. Good one.
No, he always does. He always does.
We'll come again.
That's the good thing about both of us.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Nice. So we'll come again on Friday. Have a beautiful week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.